Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Dr. Frank, and I struggled with weed addiction for a period of about 7 to 8 years of my life. And reflecting back on that portion of my life, I've come to understand that weed was a major waste of time. And understanding that weed was a waste of time, not a valuable use of my time, eventually played a crucial role in my ability to quit smoking weed, and I want to break down that thought process with you guys today in this brief video. If you're struggling to quit smoking weed, be sure to check out the link in my profile, the pinned comment, or the video description for a free 7-step guide on how to quit smoking weed. So, weed was a major waste of time when it came to my life. Now, there's something important to understand about weed. For most of us, when we first smoke weed, it's at a stage in our lives when we're younger. So maybe this is your early teenage years, or maybe like me, you were around the age of 21, 22 years old when you first started smoking. Now, when I started smoking, I was working a part-time job, I still lived at home, and I was in college pursuing a doctorate in chiropractic. And I'm going to be honest with you, at that point in my life, I saw time as endless. I viewed it as I had all the time in the world to eventually quit. I had all the time in the world to eventually accomplish the things in life that I assumed I was going to accomplish. And if you're even younger than I was when you started smoking, let's say you were a teenager, chances are you had very little concerns at that point in your life. Time was on your side. You had all the time in the world. And that's super important because for a lot of people, when they start smoking weed, when they began smoking, their life circumstances look very, very different from the point later on in life when they're considering smoking weed. And there's something crucial that happens to time as our relationship with weed develops. And what that thing is we cross around the age, most typically what I find is somewhere around 25 years old. Now, some people won't have this realization till they're in their 40s or 50s, which is the most common age people call our offices to work with us. But what we realize suddenly is that time is precious. And like becomes precious, it becomes valuable, it becomes limited. And I like to describe time as a precious resource. And if you think of like a diamond, right, like a wedding band, diamonds are, well, they're marketed as something precious, something that's limited. Precious is defined as a resource of great value, not to be wasted or treated carelessly. When I was smoking weed, especially at a younger age, my time was not precious. But as I got older, as I realized that I had things ahead of me that I wanted to start to accomplish, and as I started to see my time becoming more precious, more limited, more valuable, I began to get anxious about smoking weed. And this is actually one of the reasons why weed significantly started to increase the amounts of anxiety that I was feeling on a day-to-day basis. Subconsciously or consciously, I was beginning to understand at some point that I was wasting my time. And time is not something that should be treated carelessly or something that should be neglected, because time is one of the few resources in life that we can't get back. We can mess up relationships and rebuild them. We can mess up our health and we can work to restore it. We can lose money and we can make money. But time is one thing that when it's gone for good. And I'll tell you guys right now, this wasted time is probably one of the worst side effects of marijuana addiction. I like to tell people, value your time or your time will not value you. Even when I was stuck in active addiction, I was in the process of building a business, a chiropractic practice. I had my hands involved in actually multiple other side hustles and businesses. And I viewed myself as a high value individual, especially in a business sense. But I didn't value my time. And in turn, I was always coming up short financially. I was always coming up short in my businesses. I was always coming up short on those levels of success that I thought I could achieve. And I'll tell you why that was. I wasn't valuing my time. People who charge a lot of money for their services, they value their time. Maybe it was in the education. Maybe it was the time in the business they built. Maybe it was in developing a valuable skill that other people don't have. But the reason why people make a lot of money is because they value their time. If you don't value your time, time will never value you. Now, you have to ask yourself, what are you doing with your time when you're stoned, right? What are you doing with that time? For me, I was watching porn. I was watching Netflix. I was binge eating food, feeling like crap to a point where I wouldn't want to exercise or work out the next day. When I was stoned, I was doing nothing valuable with my time. In fact, I was further wasting my time. So not only was smoking weed a waste of time, but it fed into other negative behaviors that further devalued my time. So if you can picture me sitting at home, chewing tobacco, hitting my vape, smoking weed, all while watching adult media content, and then waking up the next day and saying, why aren't I farther along in life? Why aren't I doing better? I got a doctorate. I started a business. I'm a smart guy, right? I'm not stupid. Why am I not more valued? And this is the answer why. What was I doing with my time? I was showing it no respect. I was treating it carelessly, and I was treating it recklessly. And that was ignorant of me. And I'm going to go on a brief side tangent for a moment. Who was I to think that I had more time to accomplish all the things in life that I wanted to accomplish? That was an ignorant way of thinking, because at the end of the day, none of us know how much time we actually have on this earth. I would like to think I'm going to accomplish things and I'm going to live till I'm 80 years old. But I'll tell you, as I started to approach 28, 29, 30, and I began falling short of all the things that I thought I was going to accomplish, I realized just how recklessly and ignorantly I was treating my time. I have a mantra for you guys when it comes to your time, and let's get this mantra uncovered here. And this was a big one when it comes to quitting smoking weed. I want you to tell yourself this every time you get a craving or every time you think about relapsing going forward in your quit. And if you're watching this video, drop today's date, drop today's time, and let me know that you're going to quit because you're starting to value your time more. You're going to say to yourself, my time is precious, my time is valuable, my time is limited. And you're going to repeat that 3 times. Say it with me. My time is precious, my time is valuable, my time is limited. Literally say it out loud. My time is precious, my time is valuable, my time is limited. And then end those 3 statements after repeating that 3 times by stating, I will respect my time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I will respect my time. This is an excellent mantra when it comes to killing cravings and when it comes to killing moments of relapse or moments where you're feeling weak. Remind yourself why you're quitting. And if you don't have reasons to quit, if you're having trouble thinking of them, quit to start to value your time. Control your time, or time will control you. This is another valuable lesson that I learned. When I wasn't manipulating my time on my own terms, when I wasn't filling my own schedule, when I wasn't being a tyrant of my own time, I think that's a William Carnegie quote, time became my worst enemy, because it was during times of boredom, it was during periods of time where I had nothing to do, that time began to control me. And that was with all the temptations that we face every day in life, right? Pornography, drugs, drinking alcohol, which is a drug, getting into trouble, not being productive, getting depressed, getting more anxious, feeling some type of way that I hope to never feel again. if you don't manipulate your own time, if you don't respect your own time, if you don't fill in periods of time, time is going to control you. You will not control it. And I can almost guarantee you, subconsciously or consciously, this is going to spill into other areas of your life. This might translate into working that 9 to 5 job that you hate working. Something or someone else is now controlling your time. As an entrepreneur, this can translate to your time too. Don't think you're immune to this. Because what happens is, let's say you're at a level of high success. Many people who call our offices they're business people, they're entrepreneurs, they're doctors, they're attorneys. And they're saying, look, I've built this incredible career for myself, but for some reason I'm still going home and getting stoned at night, getting stoned during the day. Why is this happening to me? And what I like to explain is because they're not filling in their time, even at a point of success in life, with something valuable. So what's happening is addiction is starting to manipulate their brain and how they organize their time to allow or to accommodate for addiction. So when I'm working with a really successful entrepreneur or someone who wants to go from a point of not successful to successful, I always warn them, get control of your addiction now before you hit that point of extreme success, because otherwise, once you get there and you create more freedom for yourself financially, you create time to walk away from your business. If you didn't get this addiction under control, addiction is going to rob you of that free time, of that time that you worked so hard to create for yourself. And that's exactly the situation that I found myself in. Value your time or time won't value you. When we are smoking weed, we are wasting time because in addiction, we are not growing in many aspects of our life. We are growing. We're growing deeper and deeper into our addiction. But by growing deeper into addiction, we're not growing in our businesses. We're not growing in our faith. We're not growing in our relationships. We're not growing in our health, mentally or physically. We are disrespecting our time. And when we disrespect our time, we are not rewarded with positive growth. And that's really what we're looking for, positive growth. Guys, quitting weed is an investment. And there is a positive return on this investment if you treat it as such, if you treat it appropriately. If you keep funneling all your time, all your resources, and all your energy into addiction, I promise you, you're going to get a negative return on your investment and how you're using your time. If you need help quitting, check out the video description, the pinned comment, or the link in my profile. You can book a one-on-one coaching session, or feel free to just download our free guides on quitting weed. Follow me into the next video where I talk a little bit more about my relationship with weed and a mentality for quitting.